Hello and welcome to ExpoHub. Here we teach you the best things that you need to know about UiPath. Today in this chapter we will learn the basics of sequence. Okay, how do you start a project and what is sequence? So let's get started. First thing, once you get onto the home page of UiPath, right, click on home and here you have something called start and I need to click on process. So it will tell what is that name. So here I will say basic sequence project. Okay, the earlier version of UiPath when you are giving a space was giving error. So now this has been rectified. This has been improved. Now here I will give the details. This is a basic sequence project. All right, and I click on create. So once a sequence is created, that get uh, stored in the document section. Okay, and here you can see in the documents you will have a folder called UiPath, and inside this UiPath you will have all your projects getting saved. So right now we have created basic sequence project and this got saved here. Now if you click on here, the main.xml, right, this is the file where your project actually stays. Whatever you will design will come in main, and these are all your supporting files. So when you have to transfer your project to somebody else, the entire folder you can zip it and transfer it to anybody who wants to run that bot. Okay, so this is the basic. Now let me start with, so the first thing I said, there are four different types. One is actually I would consider three. One is the sequence, flowchart and state machine. So in this video we will learn about sequence. Right now we'll focus on sequence. Let me click on sequence. It is asking me a name, so I'll give a first demo. So the first one, I have created a project. Inside that I'm creating a sequence, so I can have multiple sequences created. First demo project. Okay, so now you can see this is getting stored here. I'll just click on create. So the moment you click on create, the sequence got created here. This is the place where I'll be dropping activity. To start with, I will drop a message box. Okay, now this message box, I want to show a text, right? So how do I show it? So here, so the caption, right here, I can give name. Let's say hello, right? And here in the text, I will say welcome to ExpoHub. Now there are two things I did here. One is when you are writing a text or a string, you have to put them in double quotes, right? And here also you can see in the text field I have put them in double quote. So this is one of the way. The moment I do it, it has come here. So now the right hand side is called the property panel. Okay, so anytime you click on each activity, the property panel is going to change. So you can see that it is changing. So here the entire thing, this is the display name, this is the button caption. Okay, the button I can specify, right? Okay, cancel, yes, no, cancel, how you want. Okay, so all these things can be done in a message box. Caption is hello, it will come in the top. So let's quickly run it, again we will come back. So let me run this. Okay, so you can see that the caption has come on the top of the message box, and this is the welcome to ExpoHub is the message that I want to show it to the customer. And you can see that two buttons which has come, okay and cancel, right? So this is how you can design. Now on the left hand side is the activities. Okay, this is the activities, this is the project and snippets. So activities is where you have to drag and drop all the different activities you want to demonstrate, right? Let's say now I am going to use another activity called input dialog, okay, where I will ask the customer name. So when I click on input dialog, Here again, this is the caption. The first one is caption. So I say welcome to ExpoHub. Let's say I'm going to type it. Welcome to Expo Hub. And here I'm going to say, what is your name? What is your name? Okay. So the moment you type what is your name, on the right hand side you have something called output on the property panel. So whatever he's typing, I want to store in the output. So what I will do, I will use a variable. So for that I'll be using Control K. Okay, Control K, and here I'm going to give the variable name as name. So in this variable, this is going to store. So remember, once you create a variable using Control plus K, okay, Control K, and then you have typed the name. The moment you do Control K, did you observe what has happened? If you do Control K, set variable, something is going to come. Okay, if it is not coming, then again try Control plus K. Hold the Control and hit on K. So that is how you are going to create the variable. So once I have created the variable, if I come to variable panel here, okay, you can say, see, the variable got created and it is having a variable type generic value. This is the by default, it will say generic value. So you just click on this and then change it to string, because name is a string type. Okay, so depending on the variable you are creating, you need to keep on changing. All right, so now what would happen once he enters his name? I wanted to again show his name as an output. Okay, so I will say, so the name is state in, so I will say your name is, okay, and then give a plus sign. So your name is, then a space, and give a plus sign, and here you write the variable. So the variable name is name. So the moment you type, it will come automatically. All right, so I've selected name. So now you can see it will show your name is. Okay, so let's run this and see how this is working. Let me save it, click on run. Now it's saying welcome to ExpoHub. Then I can click on OK. And then what is your name? So I will say Rakesh. All right, then click on OK. Then it's saying your name is Rakesh. So this is a basic project we have learned in sequence, which is running from top to bottom. Okay, then in the next video I will show you what is a workflow and how to create projects. And a couple of more things, guys. There are three different buttons on the top. One is the home, right, which will bring you to this page where you can start a new project. It's saying process. Under the new project section, you can create, and you can see the recently created projects is available here, right? And then you have called design. Design is the panel where you will be designing the bot. So you are dragging and dropping activities. There are other options, recording. So there are so many videos I have created. You can watch them one by one and you can practice over UiPath. And then there is another option here, debug. Okay, very simple, and it is easy to learn. So you can just go with the videos that I've created and you can easily learn the entire UiPath. The debug section, again, this is for the debugging purpose. There are any kind of exception, how do you handle them? When there are errors, how do you handle them, and things like that. Okay, and this is one of the basic flowchart bot, and we will see how to design that. Okay, so let's get started. So for this, I'm going to click on start, and then let me stop the bot, go to home page, click on start and hit on process. And here I'm going to give the name to the bot, which is section assigner bot. Okay, and here you can definitely write the details of the bot. I'm skipping that part, but again you can go ahead and write details as to why and what this bot is going to be designed for. All right, okay, so let's continue with the flowchart. So I'm going to click on flowchart. Right here I will say section assigner, that is the project name, and this is the flowchart name. Okay, now I will click on open workflow. Now the workflow is ready. The first thing I'll be doing with the workflow is I'm going to put an input dialog box. Okay, I will drag and drop it here. So while you drop, you see the arrow mark. So once the arrow is highlighted, just leave the mouse, and you can see this has been automatically pointed out. Otherwise, you have to manually do it. Okay, this is one of the small trick. Now in the input dialog box, here is the title, right? And here is the label. So in the label, I will say section assigner bot. You will see where this has been shown, okay? And then here I am saying, hi, please enter your number. Enter your roll number, right? So there they will be entering the roll number. Done. Now post this. So when I run this, see, let's see how this is appearing. So hi, please enter your mobile number, section assigner bot. So what I can do here is I can the person supposed to enter the roll number over here, right? So what should I do? Click on OK. You can also interchange in case you want the title label to be the other one. I can just do this by alternating the. So now what will happen if I run this now? You can see, hi, please enter your roll number has come here, and this I have kept blank. It's up to you how do you want to design it. Very good. And suppose they enter the number, what I want, the bot should decide whether it's a odd number or a even number, and it should assign the section. So for that, simply I will draw a flow decision, keep in the pointer and leave the mouse, and you can automatically join it, right? So now in the decision, what I will do, I'm going to write. So now the moment the student is going to enter the roll number, that is going to store in a variable, control K, and then type roll number. This is the variable. Okay, the moment you do this, come back to variable panel and change the variable type to int32. All right, all you are done. Now all I have to do now is this one integer 30, the roll number, I have to give a condition. So how do you write a condition? Just click on this, and then here you write roll number is the variable. You can see it has come automatically. Mod is something, the reminder of 2 should equals to be 0. All right, mod 2 is a VB.NET formula. Roll number mod 2 equals to 0. That means if it divides by 2, the reminder should be 0. Okay, if it is something remaining, then that's a even number, odd number. So the even number, whoever is been assigned with the even number, they should be assigned with the section A. So what I will do, I'll drag a message box. Okay, and in this message box, I'm going to write the text, right? So in this text, I will say you are assigned to section A. Okay, click OK, and the same thing I'm going to do for anyone who is false. That means it's a odd number, right? It's an odd number. So again, how do you just leave it the mouse? So if it is true, this is going to be, if it is a even number, he is going to be assigned with section A. Odd number people will be assigned with section B. All I will do is just change this, because I have copied it, I have changed to section B. Done, easy. Now the next thing I will do is I will pass another message box. Again, drag and drop. So here I will change the text saying welcome to, so delete this, double quotes. Remember, always double quote you have to use anytime you're writing a string inside a message box. Welcome to 8th standard section A. Okay, again, to optimize, I'll again copy this, paste it, and then I'll drag it and drop it in front of the mouse, right? And then here I'm going to change it to section B. Done. So now what is happening, let me run this. So the moment I run it, it's asking please enter your roll number. Let's say I'm saying let's say 25. So it's a odd number, so you should be assigned with section B. You are assigned to section B. Welcome to 8th standard section B, right? Now see, now once I've done that, the bot is closed, but I wanted to run it again and again. It should not stop at all. So for that, what I will do, I will keep my mouse pointer here and bring the arrow and try to connect this to input dialog box. You see that? The same thing I'm going to do it here. I'm to drag that pointer again, drag the pointer and then connect it to input dialog box. So if I save it now and run it, it will not close. It is going to ask it multiple times. So let's see. Hi, please enter your roll number. Let's say I'm saying 11 is my roll number. So it's saying you are assigned to section B. Now you can see that after this the bot was getting closed. So this is the benefit of workflow, right? I can connect it, I can rename. That is something in sequence is not possible, correct? So this is what the benefit, and this kind of activities or the project I have to use the workflow. So now you can see it asked me again. So let me say 12 is my roll number. So it's saying you are assigned to section A. Welcome to 8th standard section A. Wonderful. So again it's asking. So the bot will not be closed unless until you close it manually, right? So this is how you can utilize a workflow. So this is quite interesting, and this is how a workflow is being integrated to your project and being implemented and utilized. How to open a new browser using UiPath. Can the bot open a new browser? Can the bot open a website? Let's get started. So this video is for beginners. So when you open UiPath, this is the home screen that you will see, and from here you need to click on Start, click on Process, and let me give a name. Open new browser. Okay, you are giving the project name here, and you can write the descriptions over here. Okay, so once you are done with this, click on Create. So it is going to create a project for you. Alright, so this will take a slight bit of time when we start the process. Okay. Alright. So once it is done, this is the page. So this is the window that you may come in depending on the version you are in. So we are using a community edition. So now I'm going to click on Open Main Workflow. Okay. So here on the left hand side you have something called activities. Okay. Now here you can, it could be on the left hand side, sometimes on the bottom list, wherever it is available, but again you have to click on activities, and here you have to type open browser. Okay, so open browser will have this activity. All you have to do is you can double click on this, or else you can drag and drop, whichever you like. Okay, so automatically the sequence will be created, and within that you have the open browser. Okay, so here let's say I want to open www.google.com. Okay, so all I will do is www.google.com. Simple. All right, and now here on the right hand side panel there's a property panel. Okay, so here it says input browser type. Let's say I want to open in Google Chrome, I want to open in IE. So this is where you can select. So at this moment there are 4 different options, 4 different popular browsers are available: IE, Firefox, Chrome and Edge. Okay, so let me go with Chrome. Alright, let me save this and run it. Okay, the project has just started, execution has started, and you can see that on a new window a browser has, the Google Chrome has opened and google.com has come up. How do you open application? Okay, so any application, for example Word document. So let me quickly create a Word document, and let's say I type hi myself Rakesh, this is a test file. Okay, so I have typed it. Now let's say I'm saving this file and I want my UiPath bot to open this file. Okay, so you learn the simple technique. Now I'm going to save as, and let's say I'm going to save in document, and hi, myself Rakesh. I'll give a short title, Rakesh test. Okay, and I'm going to save it. Now how can you open this particular file? So for that, as I said, open. So very simple, you will have to type open. Okay, and there you find open application, open browser. So I'll be selecting open application because this is a application, correct? Now um, here there is something called indicate window on screen. Okay, if you do that, what would happen? Let's say I'm selecting Word document. By default it will open a Word document. For example, I'll show you what is the problem. So this is the file I have kept it open. Now if I click on indicate on screen and I select this particular file and save it, and I'm going to let's say I'm going to close this file. Okay, I'm going to close this file and I'm going to run the bot. So the basic problem that you will have, it is not going to open that particular file. Okay, and you can see it has opened a blank document. And why is that happening? Reason being, if I stop this, and why it is opening a blank document, because there is no argument specified. The selector what you have selected, right, it has got the title of the file, but again it's not able to validate and find where it is. Okay, so the file name, if you see, it is just telling how to open the Windows Word application, right, but it's not specifying like which file I should open. Okay, so how do you exactly do that? So to correct that, there is something called argument. Okay, here in the argument, what I have to do, I will go to the file. So Rakesh test is the file. I'll right click properties and click on security, and in the object name, right, that you can find from the file explorer too. Otherwise this is the best one. So I'll copy this. Okay, and I will go back, and in the argument what I will do, I am going to open this window and put a double quote. Within that double quote I'm going to write the exact file and path. Okay, so now this is complete. The open application activity is complete. Now it has got an argument which knows where to go and open it, file name, and the selector, correct? So everything is perfect. So if I save it now, and let's say I'm going to close everything. Okay, everything is closed, and I'm going to run this. Now if you see, it's exactly opening the required file for me. Okay, so this is how you automate and open an application that you want to open. This you can apply to any kind of application that you like to open from your desktop or your system. So the learning objective of this one is to how do you use the input dialog box, and the next one would be how do you take the user input and show that in a message box. So please watch this video till the end. If you like this video, please do not forget to click on the like button and subscribe to the channel. Alright, let me switch back to UiPath. Now in UiPath, I'm going to create a new sequence. Alright, you can give it a name. We can say input dialog box demo. The first thing that I'm going to do is drag and drop the input dialog box. Okay, here I'm going to write the title. I will say welcome to ExpoHub, and here I'm going to say enter your name. Okay, the moment you do this, let me run it and show you how the appearance of the input box would be. So you can see that welcome to ExpoHub, the title that we have given has come on the top of the input box, and enter your name has come in the body. Okay, so that is the label that has come over here. So the moment you enter detail and click on OK, that should get stored inside a variable. So we haven't done that yet. So what you have to do, highlight this and then down below here in the properties panel you have something called result. So here on the top you have something called label, right? That is what is enter your name has come over here. So there are two different options. One is you write it here on the designer panel, or else you can write that over the properties panel. So both the options are available. And below that you have this output. So the moment customers enter the input, so that has to get stored, or that has to, the value has to pass to a variable. For that you have to click on Control K, and here I will say user input, or I would say username to be precise. So this follows a Pascal standard of writing the variable where U is capital, N is capital, right? Both are in uppercase. So this is the standard that you have to use while creating a variable. Done. The same thing I will do. I will copy this and paste it, and all I will do is quickly change the details over here, and I will say enter your country name. Okay, and here I will create another variable, Control K, and say country name. All right, and the next thing I'm going to ask is the phone number. Again, copy paste, and here highlight this and say enter your phone number. So you can see that I'm using double quotes. So any string format you have to use, always use double quoting UiPath. All right, so three things is done. I'll remove this, Control K, and I will say phone number. So the moment you could do Control K, it should say set variable, right? So that is where you have to type the name. So I will say phone number. Okay, so three things I have collected. Now I want to show all of them in a message box. So quickly what I will do, I'll click on message box. Okay, and here in the message box I'm going to say hi, give a space, and then use a plus sign to combine the strings. Hi, and then you have to say username, right? Hi, whatever the username is, to plus sign, and say give a space, your country name is, or you are from, you can say you are from, right? Give a space, plus sign, then use the variable country name, plus sign, so it will say hi Rakesh, you are from India. And then so as I said here, if you're writing a lot of strings over here, all you have to do is click on this, and in this window you can write the same thing. Okay, so that will be more clear and visible when you are typing a lot of strings. Trim, and then and your phone number is, and then the phone number is there in the phone number variable, right? So here when it is integer type, it will not accept, because message box is a string type, it will contain strings. So all you have to do is convert that to string using toString .toString method. Okay, now there is no error message. Click on OK and you can run it. All right, it's asking for the name. Just type Rakesh, country name, let's say I'll say India, phone number. Okay, so you can see that hi Rakesh, you are from India, and your phone number is 123. So this is how you utilize the input dialog box, and in the message box you can combine them. Now let's do one thing. We will create a flow chart and try to design the same thing. Okay, so now in the flow chart, as I have already created the sequence, I'm not going to write all of this. I'll just copy this, go to the flow chart and paste it over here. Okay, once again copy this, paste it over here. So now you can see all the four activities are inside the sequence and it has come over here. So all I will do is right click and click on set a start node. Okay, that way it will get connected. So the when to use a flowchart. So a flowchart is generally used when your project is a complex type where you have to have lot many activities, you have to do a lot of coding and designing of the robot, where there are a lot many workflows. That is where you have to use a flowchart. And the best part in the flowchart is I can drag and drop the sequences, or I can create a sequence. So inside this sequence, if I double click, there are four activities, right? So if you have to drag and drop all the activities inside a flowchart, that would become very complex. So the best suggested way is to create a sequence, and inside that you keep all your activities. So that way, if there are a lot many different activities that you have to do through different sequences, so it will look very compact and easy to read. So it will give a high level understanding what this sequence will do, what the other one will do, right? That is where you have to use a flowchart. Otherwise, if it is a simple project or simple robot that you have to create, then you can go with the sequence. All right, so that is the basic difference. So let me quickly run this. So again, it is going to function the similar way. Okay, so that way it is showing in the message box, right? So I think you have learned how to use the input dialog box, and how do you use um, uh, the input given by the user, and pass that to a variable, and then use those variables in a message box. How do you configure yes and no? So that is the learning objective. Previous video I have in detail shown how to use input dialog box. So today the ThinkBot challenge would be creating an input dialog box with the yes or no option. Please watch the video till end, and in case this video is helping you, do not forget to click on like button and clicking on this subscribe button. Thank you. Let's get started. All right, so let's do this. I'm going to create a input dialog box. Let me delete this one. Okay. So what I will do is I will drag and drop the input dialog box. Now, how do you design? You understood from the previous video how to utilize the input dialog box, but this time I would need a yes or no option. So yes or no option, for example, let's say you wanted to ask, do you agree with the terms and conditions, right? With the terms and conditions, let's say you want to take a user consent. So so you type, do you agree with the terms and conditions, right? So customer will have yes or no option, right? Only yes and no, no maybe. So if you click OK, and I want to configure that, so to do that there is something called options over here, right? Click on the options here, uh, use a curly braces, and then inside the curly braces what you have to do is, in double quotes, if I write yes, and then after double quotes give a comma, and then again in double quotes say no, and no need of comma here. If you wanted to write maybe, then put a comma. The last one doesn't require a comma. Okay, in case I'm writing maybe, so there's no maybe here, so I'll just go with yes and no option. Is it clear? And you can see that because of the comma there's an error. So if there are two options, only one comma is required on the first one. Okay, this is how you write, this is how the format you'll be writing, and then click on OK. So let's run this, and if you want to store that, so you can do Control K, user choice. Okay, so I'm selecting user choice, and here you can create a message box, and you can say you have selected. So that should happen with the choice, right? So if customer is selecting yes, it should say something. If customer is selecting no, it should say something. So for that, instead of direct message box, I'll be using something called flow decision. Okay, flow decision. So here if I say, so the variable that I've used is user choice. The same thing in the condition, I'm going to say user choice equals to yes. So while you do this, ensure the space, comma, whatever you have given within the braces should be exactly the same way. Okay, so if it says if it is true, then you pass a message stating you have selected you have agreed to the terms and conditions. Okay, this is how you write, and then I'll copy this, Control V to save time. So here I will, if it is false, I will say I will say you did not, you did not agree to the terms and conditions. Okay, so that's how you design the input dialog box. Let's quickly run this and see. Okay, so do you agree with the terms and condition? So let me say yes. Then it's saying you have agreed to the terms and condition. Okay, as per the condition, as per this condition true. So this, as per the true condition, it's saying you have agreed. Let me say no. Let's see. Okay, I'm selecting no. So it's saying you did not agree to the terms and conditions. Okay, so you can see that how to design it. So one of the question that I have been getting is input dialog box. How do you design that for multiple choice, and how do you design that for a drop down menu, right? So how will you design the simple input dialog box? Okay, so in this demo I will show you that. So first thing is I will drag the input dialog and I will drag a message box. These are the two activities I need. Okay, so the first one is about, let me show you one by one how it works, and then I can, so let's say first input dialog box. Okay, so here I say hi there. So this, whatever you are writing on the top one, okay, so this is how it will appear. So this is coming on the top of the window. Okay, so let's say you want to write something in the body of this input dialog box, and then we will see how to design the drop down menu and all that. Okay, let's say I want to say um, um, enter your choice, or anything you want to write. Okay, so when you write this, what is happening? Okay, this is how it is coming, right? And here it is giving you an option to type something, and whatever you type it will appear in the message box. So let's do that, and then we will design the drop down menu. Okay, so here whatever I'm typing, there's something called output. So in the output you do Control K and create a variable. So I'll name it as input. Okay, so this input, let's say by default will be generic. I will select a string because I will enter string type variable. So in the message box all I have to do is type that variable name. Okay, now let's see, or I will say enter your name, right? That's a appropriate one. Enter your name. So if I do this and run it, let's say I'm entering Rakesh. Continue to this video, guys. I'm going to show you the drop down up just after this. So you can see the message box has come. Okay, now let's say I will make some I will ask the customer to choose one option. Okay, so what I will do, let's say think it's a shopping mall. Okay, and customer wants to go for, let's say you want to do groceries. Okay, he wants to do you want to go for men's um, clothes section, right? So you need to, so you will finally tell him which floor to go, something like that. Okay, so how do you show all this choice? And then let's say women section, right? And then you have got kids section and all that. So now how do you put that? So I'll show you. Let's say all these are the three options. I'll go to input dialog box, and here whatever you are typing, right, there is something called option. Okay, so here instead of enter your name I will say enter your choice. Okay, that will come in the body of the message, and I want to give some option. So here in the option I'll just copy paste. Okay, now copy paste will not work. So what I will do, remember the format. Okay, first I'll do a curly braces I will put, and then within that this one I'll put in double quote. Okay, this one I'll put in double quote, and after the double quote put a comma. All right, same thing I'll do for the second one. I'll put a double quote and then I'll put a comma, and for the third one I'll do the same thing. Just I'll avoid the comma because this is the last one. Okay, remember, double quote comma, and this is the format. So I'll show you this format. I'll put it in the notepad. So this is the format. So this format, if you see, double quote comma double quote, right, and the last one I did not put a comma because that's the last one. Otherwise this is quite simple. So the moment I do this, I'll see how this is appearing. Okay, now you can see this has given you the choices, right? So let's say I'm selecting grocery, or I'm selecting men's clothes or women's section. If I select, enter your choice. So depending on that we can do programming, but again this is a generic video just to show you how to design the input dialog box. So you can see I have selected 3 and the 3 section has come here, correct? Okay, wonderful. Now let's say I want to do a drop down. Okay, now remember this is for the multiple choice, right? Now what is happening, I'll show you one small difference. Now if I add one more line, okay, we'll put a comma and then double quotes 4, and let's say kids section. I'm going to add, let's say. Now by adding another choice here, what is happening to the format we will see. Okay, see, now it has converted itself to a drop down menu. So more than 3 as is taking it this as a drop down menu, and this will also work. Let's say I'm selecting kids section, in the message box the kids section has appeared. Okay, so this is how you design your drop down menu and the multiple choice. So multiple choice is limited to 3, and anything beyond that would become a drop down. Okay, so depending on your project requirement you can design the way you want. Combine or concatenate strings. How do you combine both the strings? Alright, for this we will click on activity and search for input dialog. Now this input dialog we will use to ask customer, let's say, the name of your country. Okay, so what I will say, here in the input dialog box on the right hand side you have the panel. Now here you can, even here you can write it over here, or you can directly choose to write over here. Display name, you can simply say welcome, right? I don't want input dialog as a display name, we'll say welcome. And here the title I would say hi there, and then you will ask him enter your name, and then we will ask the next question, enter your country. Now let's learn this. The moment I enter hi there over here, this will become the title of the input dialog box, and when I say enter your name, that will become the label. So let's simply save this and run it to see how does that box appears, then we will proceed further. Alright, the process has started, and you can see hi there has come over here, and here I am saying enter your name. Okay, so the moment the user is going to enter the name, I am going to use this output variable where any data that is entered will pass it to this variable. So what I will do, I will do Control K and type the variable called name. So we use Pascal style of writing variables. For example, name, if you want to say username, for example, so you will say U capital and then N capital, right? This is how you will be creating the standard way of creating the variables. Done. Now the moment he enters the value over here, the user, that value will pass to the variable username. All right, then the next I will copy this and I'm going to ask the next question. Okay, so here I will change it, the title, and make it country name. We'll go back to the main. Alright, here what I can do is I will simply, I don't need a label, I just want to ask, so you can leave it blank and you can say enter your country name. Okay, enter your country name. Now what would happen the moment he enters? Again I will create another variable, I will erase that, and control K, I will say country name. Okay, this is the new variable I'm going to create. Okay, so now both the values will pass. So after passing both the values, what I want to do is take a message box and drag and drop it over here. And here in the message box, I want to show, let's say I'm entering Rakesh, and here I'm entering India. I want to say Rakesh is from India. I want to use the entire, combine both the strings given by the user and another string, a default string I want to add. So how to do that? So for that, first thing, the username is over here. So what I will do here, I will say user name, correct? So here the username has come. So username is a variable, so I do not have to use double quotes. Okay, so what I will do, I'll delete this, I'll simply write username. The moment you type, you will get this, just hit on tab, so the variable has come. All right, now to combine strings, what I will use is a plus sign. Okay, now in the plus sign after the username, I have to give a space, right? So I will double quote, inside the double quote I will give a space. Okay, then again I'll use a plus sign to combine. So Rakesh, then I have to want to use a default is from, this is my default sentence, and give a space, is from, and the country name. So again, this is the variable, no double quotes in the variable, simply you can write country name and the variable has come, hit on tab. So what will happen, Rakesh space is from country name. In case you do not want to give a space, you can also give a space over here, so that will do the job. Okay, but again, that is the way to do it, it's up to you. So once this is added, okay, so both the, you can see the username and country name. If you go to variable and select the sequence, you can see the username and country name both are of generic value, but we know this is a string, so all you have to do is click on string, and this one also click on string. Done, that is done. Now let's run this and see how it works. Okay, so it's asking enter your name. Let's say I'm entering Gopal, and enter your country name, let's say Sri Lanka. Okay, so Gopal is from Sri Lanka, right? We'll run it again to see. Enter your name, let's say Rakesh, and enter your country name, India. The moment I do this, again it's saying Rakesh is from India. So you can see that how well we have designed it and how to combine the string. So you will be using the plus symbols. Friends, today in this example we will see how do you sum two integers in UiPath. That is the learning objective. Let's get started. So let me show you a demo. So in this demo, there are two questions which will be asked to customer. One is enter the first number to add, let's say I'm saying 10, and it's asking enter the second number, let's say I'm saying 2, and the final is showing the sum of number is 12. So how do you create this? So let's get started. Let me create a new sequence and give a name, sum demo. All right, here the first thing is I have to use an input dialog box, and then here in the title I will say sum, and in the label I will say enter your, or enter first number for addition. Okay, and then the moment you do this in the output panel, the properties panel, in the output section, you have to say Control K, and you have to say, let's say num1 is the first variable which will contain the value passed by the user. Okay, the same thing, I will just copy this, control paste, and here I will say second number, right? Instead of first number, I will say second number. Okay, it's quite easy, second number. And then here again I'll need to change this to a different variable, control K, and I will say num2. Alright, so now the activity that we'll be using to do the addition is assign. Okay, and the addition can also be done inside the message box, but assign would be the appropriate one. So click on control K, and here you need to type num3. So this is the third variable which will contain the sum of number 1 and number 2. So I will say num1, select num1, and then the symbol that you have to use is plus, and here you have to say num2. Okay, so this is how you do the addition of two numbers. And now what I'm going to do is drop a message box, and here I will say right, so addition of numbers is, and here I will say num3. So use a plus sign and say num3. That is how it is going to combine. And here, because it's an integer, you cannot, it will give you an error if you see this value of for a required activity argument text was not supplied. So this has to be a string value all the time, because num3 is integer type, so I need to convert it to toString. Is that clear? So this is how you need to create, if you see, and all of this need to be changed to integer 32 number 1, and number 2 is also integer type, and number 3 is also integer type. Clear? Should not keep it in the generic type of variable. Is that clear? And this one's supposed to be integer 32. So I'm done. So now the next thing that I'll be doing is, let me run it quickly and show you what is happening. So if I run it now, so the one which I have typed as sum, that is coming on the top of the input dialog box. Enter your first number is this one. So here I'm entering, let's say 100. Okay, and then enter the second number is coming from this input dialog box, and here I would say, let's say 50. Okay, and the third one, this will do the addition, and the number 3 value is coming over here, which is saying the addition of numbers is 150. Okay, this is how this appears. Now if I have to use a workflow, how do I do that? So let me save this. To workflow, again I'll click on new flowchart, flowchart. So I will say flowchart some demo. Okay, there are two ways. One is I can copy paste one activity and put it in the flowchart. Otherwise, the best thing I would do is copy this and paste it, entire sequence. Okay, so all the activities are, if you double click, all the activities are over here. All right, let me go back, and here let me connect to the start node. So it got connected, so it will automatically run. Let's see that. Okay, it's asking for the first number. Let's say I'm saying 50, and then enter the second number, let's say 62, and it is adding and saying the addition of numbers is 112. Okay, so this is how you complete the addition in both sequence or in a flowchart. In this video, we are going to learn to create a basic calculator where customer will have a choice to select whether he wants to do addition, subtraction, multiplication, or division. So as per the user choice, we have to build a calculator, and as per the user input is going to do addition or subtraction, or depending on the choice. So how to do that? So let's assign the task to our thinking bot. Okay, basic calculator design. Please watch till the end, and please do like and subscribe to the channel. We will come up with more interesting videos. Let's get started. All right, so here we have created a demo. Let me run this and show you how does this work. So it's asking for the first number. Let's say I'm entering 10, and it's asking for the second number. I'm entering 22. So 10, 22. So, and make a choice. Let's say I'm selecting addition and click on OK. So it's saying sum of two values is 32. So this is what we need to design. So let's learn how to do that. Okay, so very first thing is I will create a sequence or flowchart, whichever you like. You can just create it. It's a simple programming. So I'll just use this one, basic calculator demo, and I'll click on create. Alright, so now in this one I want input dialog box. So one is for the first number, second one is for the second number, user input, first number, second number, and the third one is for the user choice, yes to choice. So the three input dialog box. So first thing, I'm going to leave the title blank for the moment. You can just type it, otherwise leave it blank. So here I'll simply say enter first number, and I'll use the second one and the second number, and the third one is the slightly complex, where I have to give the option to the customer, right? So what I will do, I'll give an option. So this is how you put the double braces, and here, so this is where I'll be giving, he need to select the option. Okay, plus for this choice is for the addition, choice one. After the choice one, give a comma, and the same thing you write for uh, addition, subtraction. To make it quick, I had copied the code. I'll just copy paste again. This is follow the same format, give a comma. Okay, let me show you. So this has got plus, within the double quotes you have to say plus addition and then comma, whatever your choices, you can just write that. Okay, this is what you have done, and then should be closed by curly braces, and there's no error. You can see that. So this one got created here. So here I will say select your choice. Okay, so let's until now what we have done, we have entered what are the details required to be collected. All I have to do is I have to create variables, enter first number. So once the value is passed, that should get onto the variable, let's say num1. Okay, and the second one should get into num2. Okay, again capital N. All right, and then the third one should be a choice. So control K, choice. So remember guys, once you set the variables using control plus K, all you have to do is come to variable and here change it as needed. So this two are integer type, and the choice is a string type because it has got plus, addition, minus. This is string type. Okay, so all the three variables got created. I'll minimize this. All done. Alright, so let's see that until now what has happened. Then we will proceed with the next programming, how to design that calculation using a switch function. So until now it's asking for the first number. So let's say I'm entering the first number, it's getting stored in num1. I'm entering the second number, storing in num2. Select your choice coming from the third input dialog box. Okay, if you select, click on OK, it should do the job. Okay, so let's get started with the next set of activities that we have to drag. So for this one, for basic calculator, what I will be using is, there are multiple ways to do this guys, but here I will use the switch function. Okay, using switch we will learn how to do that. So when customer is entering something, that comes to the variable choice. So in the expression, all you have to do is write that variable choice. Okay, so whatever the variable, so now the choice is a string type, isn't it? So all you have to do, go here, when you highlight, so choice is a string type. All right, see here what I will do, in the case value 1, these are the conditions I've added. So ensure this exactly matches. There should not be a space or a comma, exactly how you have written the same thing you need to copy, and in the case value you have to paste it over here. Okay, plus addition is not a valid value for integer 32. So that means what happening, the moment you click on switch, here on the type argument, it is saying integer 32 type, right? So you have to change that to, okay, so you cannot do this until unless you delete this value. for the first time, and the first thing you have to do is change it to string type. Okay, so once you do that, if you paste the value now, you can see there is no problem. There's no problem. Okay, now same thing I have to do for the case 2, and then we will add the programming. Okay, so let me show you for the addition what to do. So what I will do, I will drag and drop the message box. Okay, and here in the message box I will say the sum, right? So I will say the sum of two numbers is, okay, and here I will say plus sign, give a plus sign, and I'll be using those two variables. So first variable is num1 plus num2. Okay, and here these are integer and message box is a string type, so all I have to do is dot. Just by using the plus sign, the job, it'll do the sum of both the integer values. Okay, the error is gone. Now if you see it here, all I have done is in the addition box here I have written the number. Okay, the same thing I have to do a copy paste, just I have to slightly change the symbols. Okay, so what I will do here, I am going to use the subtraction value, and here I will put, okay, subtraction, and below that I need to write the case, isn't it? So subtraction, here again I will copy paste this same message box so that I don't have to completely write it. All I have to do is here I will say subtract, the subtracted value of two numbers is, so here instead of num plus I will replace that with a minus. Okay, simple, the job is done. Okay, now the same thing I will do it for multiplication, right? So multiplication, okay, and another case I will add, and here also I will copy paste the message box, go to multiplication, and here instead of subtracted value I will say multiplied value. Okay, multiplied value of two numbers is num into, so put a star for this. Okay, so this way it will multiply. Now the remaining last one is division. So again, remember guys, exactly how you have written in the input dialog box, the same thing you have to copy. Okay, so here in the input dialog box we have written, okay, the same way you have to copy it either from here or copy it to a notepad and copy it from there, whichever way you like, but ensure it's exactly the way it is written there. Okay, so division, otherwise it will not function. If it is not functioning, that is the cause. Again I'll copy paste here, instead of multiplied I will say division or divided value. Okay, divided value of two numbers is num. Here I will use the division symbol, right? So that's all guys, the programming is done. Let's run it and see how this is functioning. All right, let's see the beautiful basic calculator. Enter first number. Let's say I'm entering 10, and let's say I'm entering, let's say 2, and let me select let's say addition, click on OK. It's saying okay. So what happened, the value did not show. Reason, what is the reason? The sum of two numbers num1 num2. Okay guys, so multiple times I said the problem could occur. This is only simply because of exactly how it is typed, if it is not typed in the same way. So all you do is come over here, copy it again, okay, close this, go over here in the, just remove this and paste it. So let's see that if it is working fine now. Okay, this errors are good during the demo because that is how you learn. So enter first number, let's say 10, and the second number is, let's say 20. So it should show me the addition. So it's saying the sum of two numbers is 30, right? So it worked now. So this is how, only thing you have to ensure guys, whatever you have written in the choice, right, because a string, it has to exactly pass the same way. Okay, so that is where it will work. So let me run once again. Let me say, let's say let me select division this time. Okay, let's say 20, and the second number is, let's say 5. So 20 divided by 5, and here I'll select division. Okay, the divided value of two numbers is 4. Okay, so this is how you have to work. So let's recap what are the things we have done. First, we have taken the input dialog box and the value got passed to the variable num1. Second one, we asked for the second number, that value got passed to the num2 variable. And in the third one, we have asked the choice to be made by the customer. This is the code we have written. And the fourth stage, what we have done, we have used the switch function and we have written the variable over here. And then here, as per the choice that we have it here in this window, this choices we have just copied and pasted one by one, and in the message box we have written the code to do a multiplication, addition, subtractions and things of all that is there as a choice, right? This is what we have done, and this is how the basic calculator is created. Hello everyone, today I'm going to teach you on how to use the UiPath recording feature. Now there are a very common mistake that happens even after you are trying to use this, and many times it does not work, right? So today I'm going to let you know why that happens and how do you rectify them. Okay, so today I'm going to, in this example, I'm going to open a portal using the recording feature, wherein it will log in using the login ID and the password and things like that. So overall it's going to teach you how to use it and learn what are the common mistakes that can happen. Okay, so let's get started. So before you click on recording button, ensure you open the browser what you want to open. So for example, in this case, for our example, I am going to open the gmail.com, right? So let me sign out in case you have already logged in, and I will go to google.com page. So I'm going to remove everything. I need to clear it out because it's a single sign on, otherwise it will remember everything. So right now I will go to google.com, okay, from the beginning, and I would teach the bot uh, as to how do it log into the gmail.com and everything. Okay, so we'll get started. So right now in the background you have to keep the browser open with the right portal you want to open. So first thing first, hit on recording button, hit on the web because it's a web portal. Okay, now once you come here, one of the common mistake people do is they hit on record. So that is not the way. The first step is open browser. This is the step number 1, because it needs to know which browser you wants to open. Hit on open browser, and here anywhere on the portal you have to just click on the page. The moment you do this, this button is supposed to come. If this does not come, that means your bot is not going to function. So ensure this pop out prompt should come out, and you need to hit on OK. Alright, now the step number 2 is you have to hit on record, and you need to click on this search bar because this is where I'm going to type. So I'll do that, and here I'm going to type it Gmail. Okay, and remember there is a field called empty field. This is required to be checked. This is because anything that you had already typed in previously, it's going to remove that and going to type what you have instructed the bot to do. So in this case I am typing Gmail and hit on empty field. Now next thing is press enter when you are done. So I'm going to hit on enter. So you can see the bot is typing Gmail. Now the next action would be hitting on Google search. So highlight this, click on Google search. Good. And this one, because our selector is quite accurate, we don't have to use the anchor in this example. So I am going to hit on do not show and hit on no. Alright, now this is done. Now the next thing is I need to hit on this particular portal. So highlight this again, click on it. Okay, very simple step. Okay, now in this page again, where the highlighter is there, you need to click on it, and here I want to type my Google ID, Gmail ID, and again hit on empty field, check that box and hit on enter. Is going to type that. If I made a mistake, let me redo it. Empty field and hit enter. It's going to type that, and now you need to hit on next, and you need to enter the password. Now while entering the password, you have to select this box, type password, and here I am going to enter the password. So you get the star marks, no one can see what you have typed. Hit on enter. Okay, now the next action is hit on next. Just wait here. Now you can see the page is going to launch the gmail.com. So our job is done from here. So I'm going to hit on escape. Okay, once you are done with this, hit on escape button, and here you have to click on save and exit. That's all. So we have created the bot. Now let's see this entire sequence of activities that you see it here, starting from open browser, it's opening the google.com, then it's typing Gmail, then it's hitting on Google search, right? All these actions that we have done, it has been recorded. So this is quite simple. You do not have to drag activities from the activity panel to the designer panel. This is quite simple. Everything is get recorded. So this is why you have to use recording, but ensure where to click, when to click, and all those things. Okay, what I've shown in the video, you can replay the video to learn it in an accurate manner, but this is how the bot has been created. Now let's run it and see how it works. So before I run, ensure, because this is single sign-on, I'm going to sign out again from my gmail.com. Otherwise it will not do the entire function, right? So I'm going to sign out, and I'm going to remove this account from the browser. So I would allow the bot to do everything. So I've closed the browser. Now let's see it. Now I'm going to hit on debug or run and wait and watch. Okay, so it has opened the browser automatically. Okay, it's quite slow, but it's doing. Yep, just wait. Okay, now it's typing my email address, enter the password. Okay, wonderful. Now if I go back to the browser, you can see it's taking its time to log in, but again the bot has done its job, and here we can log into gmail.com. okay, it's loading. All right, so this is quite wonderful. You can see it. So this is how you have created a bot. So please replay the video to watch it again and click create your own bot. If you have any questions or comments, please put it in the comment section. I'm happy to answer them. So today in this example, we will see for each loop, how to use for each loop activity, and with that we will also see a couple of more activities like assign activity, and the other activity is if, right? So let's get started. So today, to demonstrate this activity example, I'll be using a problem statement, that is, how do you find the minimum and the maximum number in a series of numbers, right? In an array, how do you find a minimum, a smallest number, and the largest number? Okay, so let's get started. So we'll go back to home, start, we'll create a new process. Okay, and I'm saying demo of min max, min and max number. Okay, so today we'll learn all these 3 different activities which will help you, and I will also let you know the challenges you might face while creating or using these activities. All right. Okay, so the first thing is I'll be using a sequence to create my project. So I'll be double clicking on the sequence. Okay, it's not functioning that way. So click on new sequence, and here I will say min and max demo, whatever name you want to give, and create. Alright, so now the sequence is ready. So the first thing I will do is I will use the activity called assign. It's a kind of a container where I will contain a series of numbers. Okay, so I will say control K, hit on control K to create the variable, and I will say, let's say, container array. Okay, so it will contain all the numbers. So here, if you go to variable, we can see the container array is created. Okay, Now this is in generic value by default, so you have to change this. Remember this, you have to change because I am storing multiple numbers. I'll be using array of t. Okay, and I'm selecting integer 32 because it's a integer, it are numbers. Okay, done. Now here I'll be storing couple of numbers. Okay, let's say, so you'll use curly bracket, and let's say you're using 8 comma 5 comma 4 comma 6 comma 1 comma 2, let's say. Okay, so this is the entire set of number, and out of which I need to find out the largest number. Okay, largest number and the smallest number. I'll add another number 9. Okay, so this is done. Now this container array I have declared as integer 32, array of type integer, and all these numbers have been stored now. Okay, now next thing I will do is I'll again use a assign activity, and here I'm going to store another variable. I'll create again control and K on your keyboard and say minimum. Okay, so I'll be using this to compare one number with all other numbers, and whatever numbers is small, it will replace the minimum value that I will show you. So min, so here the first array, so the integer array variable is container array. So you can see this. I'll hit on tab, and then here I will apply the first. So it starts with the index number 0. Okay, so the first is 8, so 8 will be by default assigned to the new variable called minimum. Okay, and other problem is when you do a control K, it is taking generic value in assign activity. So here you have to remember, you have to change it to integer 32. Alright, so what is happening now is it will contain the first number 8. Similarly, I will use the second assign activity. I'll double click, and here I will say, let's say max, again control K and type max, and then here also I will say container array, use the first data, right, which is in 0, which will take 8. Okay, so now this is done. Now in this I have to use a for each item because I have to compare each item, so I will use the for each activity. So we will learn how to use the for each activity. Okay, so here is the for each activity. Now here by default you will get this variable item, so now you have to declare the type argument. Okay, this is very critical when people forget to change the type argument. So now we are dealing with integer type of argument, right? So here I'll be changing integer because I'll be dealing with numbers. If I deal with strings, then I can change it to strings. Right now I'm dealing with integer. Okay, now what it will do, all these numbers, right, 8 5 4 6 1 2 9 is there in a container. This is the variable container array, so I'll be using that container array. So I will say container array. So what it will do, it is going to read each number one by one. It will read first 8, then 5, then 4, then 6, then 1, then 2, then 9, right? So for each item in container array. Now this item you can change it. Okay, so now I am saying you can give your own name. By default it will come as item, so you can give your own name. So item, I'm saying item minimum, and you don't have to declare any variable. By default for this activity is designed in a way this will become integer variable because you have declared it here, and you can give your own name. So now it will take one item as you run. Okay, so now I have to compare, so I'll be using a if activity. So I'll double click if activity. Now the if activity has come within the sequence, right, after for each. So now I actually want this to be inside the body of the for each, so I'll drop it. Okay, so now it is inside the body of the for each. Now what condition I will write here is item dot min, item min variable, if it is less than, so by default I have declared the minimum value should be the first value, which is 8. So when it compare, if 8 is less than min, no, so it will go back. Then the next thing is 5. Is 5 is less than 8? Yes. So if that is less than 8, what I will do, I will use another activity called assign, and I will say if item is less than my declared value minimum, what you do, you give the whatever value. So what this will do, whatever the new value is going to come, it is going to assign it to minimum. For example, don't get confused. For example, here the first value for minimum is 8, right? So the first thing it will compare, the first item is 8. 8 is less than minimum? No. So the condition doesn't meet. So there is nothing I'm writing in the else condition. So again it will go to the next item. The next item in our sequence is 5, right? So then it will compare, is 5 is less than 8? True. So when it is true, it will come here. If it is true, what I'm asking it to do, the number 5 value should get assigned to the minimum. So the now new value of the minimum will become 5. So similar way, it will scan through all the numbers, whatever the minimum it is going to store. Okay. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to add a message box to display that number. So I'll double click on the message box. So just below this condition, once it is done, it will run the message box. Okay. Okay, just so I want, remember, people would make mistake. You will, if you put message box within this, if for each item it is going to display all the numbers. Okay, so you have to come, remember this, for each item, from out of the box you have to keep the message box. This is the mistake people will do, so remember that, to keep the message box out of the for each loop. Now here I'm going to display the lowest or the minimum number is I want to display. So I will use plus sign. I want to give a space, so I'll give a space. Okay, this is how you give a space, and then I'll again put a plus sign, and I have to show the minimum. Now minimum is an integer and message box is a string type, so I will convert this integer to string type, min dot to string. Okay, to string. Done. So now just check if you have any error anywhere. Okay, so there is no error, so it's going to do, even though it's capital, doesn't matter. So now it is, so we will just run it and see, okay, if it is finding the lowest number or not. I'm going to save it and going to run this. Let's see. Okay, so it's finding the lowest number, lowest or minimum number is 1. Do you see how it worked? Right, it is working perfectly fine. Let's see. Let's say I am putting a 0 here. Okay, and I will check, comma 0. Okay, so let's say save it and then run it. So now the new number should say 0. Okay, so it is perfectly working fine. So similar way for max, again the similar rule. All I will do is I'll copy the same one, I just have to change it. So I'll copy this, and after this, within, see, I'm keeping within the first sequence. Okay, remember that how your work, the sequence is working. So now I'm going to paste it, so it has come here. So item minimum is a variable used by for each, so I am going to say it item. You can give your own name, okay, doesn't matter, but ensure you change it. If you keep both the because by default it will come as item, so don't keep item, you have to give a different name. That is another mistake people would do. Okay, again we'll go through the container array. So here the condition would be if item max is greater than max. Okay, just the opposite of what we did for minimum. Item dot max, right? What I've declared, item dot max, yeah, item max is greater than max. If it is greater than max, what you do is the max value should be item max. So whatever, if there is a greater number than whatever we have declared in the beginning, it should take that. The same logic, okay, what we have used for minimum. Alright, so now here I have to add a message box. So again, so when I double click the message, it has come here, so it should be after that, right, after for each. So it is perfectly fine. Again I will write the largest number is, okay, I'll give a plus sign, I'll give a space, okay, and then space, then write plus, and this time it is max, right, max dot, I will, because message box is string type, so I'll use max dot to string. Okay, done. So there is no error. Okay, now we will run this again to see if it is displaying. So the lowest number is 0, correct, and the largest number is 9. Perfect. So you can see that it is working as per our logic. Alright, so if you have any questions, please comment under the video, and please like and subscribe my channel. I'll be posting more new activities of UiPath, and you'll be learning together. Thank you so much for watching this video. Have a wonderful time, guys. Today in this video we'll be learning how to create variables and how to use the assign activity, input dialog box, and things like that. But more or less we'll be concentrating on creating variables and shortcuts of creating variables. It's a very simple video. We'll go through this example. So let's get started. I'll create a new sequence and name it as demo variables, and I'll create it. Okay, now the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to ask the user about his name. So I'll use input dialog, and here I will say hi, and then I will say please, in double quotes, please enter your name. Okay, now let's simply run this and see what is happening. Now if you see, okay, the hi has come on the input dialog box on the title of the page, and this is where it's asking please enter your name. Okay, let's say I'm entering a name here. Now I have not declared a variable, so anyways it's not going to store in any of the variable because there is no variable declared if you come to variable panel. So now let's declare a variable panel so let's type Control K. So Control K is the shortcut to create a variable, Control and K. Okay, this is where it will say set variable. You can type a name. So this is a username, so I will say user name. But using Control K, sometimes the challenge with this one is it is going to have a generic variable type. The data type is generic variable, generic value. So I'm going to change this to string. Okay, done. This is one way. Now what will happen? The username will contain whatever we are entering in the input dialog box. Let's see that. Now to see this, I'm going to use a message box. Okay, now here I'm going to just type the variable name. So variable name here is user name. So hit on tab. So username has come. Now let's see what is happening. Again I will save it and run this workflow. So it's asking please enter your name, and I'm entering my name, let's say Rakesh, and hit OK, and you can see the message box is populating what we have entered. Now initially when we have run, that was not storing in any variable. Now there is a container which is containing the name whatever the user is entering. Okay, this is quite simple. Now we'll go a little deeper. Now next thing I'm going to do is, let's say I'm going to enter another input dialog box. Okay, now this one will be slightly complicated. What I'm going to do is I want to say Rakesh, so whatever name is entering, it should take that name and it should ask the next question, what is the country, what is the name of your country, right? So how do you do that? So we know the name is stored in the variable. So for variable we do not have to use any quotes, so I will just say username. So it will take the first name whatever his customer is entering. After that I'll use a plus sign and in between the quotes comma and plus sign. So after comma you can give a little space, so you can just type a space here. Okay, and then I'm asking my next question, what is the name of your country? Got it? So we'll see how this would appear. Okay, I'm just running it. So let's run this. Okay, now please enter your name. Let's say I'm entering some other name, let's say Bharat. Okay, let's say Deepak. Okay, so I'm entering Deepak, click OK. Now you can see it's asking Deepak, what is the name of your country, right? So this is quite exciting, right? It takes the name. So this is what we did just by this, by putting the variable name plus in double quotes comma with a space what's the name of the country. Now this one should again take a container, so I will tell you the another way of doing it. Okay, so this is the variable panel. Here I can create a variable, so I'll just say country name and I'll declare the variable. The data type will be string. Okay, done. Now I'm going to assign this country name variable here to the second input dialog box. If you see this here, I'm going to say country name. Okay, so now the country name will contain. Now so now I want to say the final message of this should be Rakesh stays in India. So that should be my final. So what I will do, I'll use another activity called assign. Okay, now in this assign I'm going to keep it just above the message box, and let's say I want to have a joiner, right? So I will do again Control K, joiner sentence. Okay, this is the variable name, and I'm going to give a sentence stays in. So here I'm going to type in double quotes stays in. Alright, so now this is the tricky one. How do I join everything, all the variables, and get my final message? So now stays in, is that a string type? Did I declare it string type? No, it's a generic value. So this one you should remember. Anytime you are using a Control K, please come back and check once. Okay, now it is declared. All I have to do now is join. So first I want to say the username, right? So I will type the username variable plus I want to give a comma, so I'll use a double quote comma and give a space after comma, and then plus, then I have to use stays in, right? So stays in is there in the variable joiner sentence. Okay, joiner sent, this is the variable. Okay, plus after this I want to give another space, just a space, so just I will type a space, again plus sign, and the country, so country name is India, right? So Rakesh stays in, the country name will be in this variable. So the variable doesn't require a quote, so I'll just type country name. Got it? Alright, so finally let's run this and see how it is appearing. Okay, so let's say use some other name, let's say John. Click OK. So now you can see it's saying John, what is the name of your country? Let's say it's typing Germany. Okay, click OK. So my final message says John comma space stays in Germany. John stays in Germany. Yeah, so this is how you can set variables and work along with the variables. So thank you for watching this video. In case you have not subscribed to my channel, please do subscribe. That way it will give me more hope to create more exciting videos for you. Thank you for watching this. Thank you. Have a good day. Today in this demo video, we will learn how to use array and what is array. First of all, we will learn this from this video. I have already created a project. I am going to run this and show you. So there are two different array variables that I have created, using which I am doing a concatenation and showing a different result. Okay, so we will learn that in this video, how to do that, and we will learn what is an array and how do you access them. Alright, so let's get started. So I am going to create a new sequence and I will name it as demo array data types. Okay, this is one of the data type. Now click on create. Now the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to take an activity called assign. Now assign is the activity where I can declare a variable and give some value to it. So in the to field, I'm going to click on Control K and I'm going to create a variable called name array. Okay, which will contain names. So the moment you do this with Control K, remember name array would always contain generic value, the data type. So I'm going to change the data type to array of T, and here I'm going to select string because I'm going to keep the names, right? So now the array of T is created. Now here I'm going to initiate this array. So for that you need to remember you have to type new because it's string type string, then brackets and curly brackets. So this is how you initiate a array. So one thing, the scope you need to check, this has to be with the full entire sequence. Okay, that is done. Now let's do this. Let me start giving certain names, storing certain names in the array. So let's say I'm storing Rakesh, comma, I'll store another name, John, comma, and again double quotes, and I will put, let's say, Deepak. Alright, so these are the three names I have declared. So now let's understand what is happening when you declare something like this, name array. So let me open Excel and I will show you how does that work. Okay, so when I'm saying Rakesh, so I have typed three names, Rakesh, John, and the third name that I've typed is Deepak. Okay, so what is happening, the first one is known as index 0. The value of the index is 0. The value of this index is 1, and the value of the third one index is 3. Now let me show you what I'm talking. So now I have created an array, stored 3 variables, and I want to show, let's say I want to see John, that is in the index number 1. So what I will do, I'm going to add another activity, that is message box. Okay, I'll drag and drop or double click. Now I'm going to, let's say I'm going to see name array is the data type, array data type. In bracket, let's say I'm going to access John. So I said John is in index number 1. So all you have to do here, all you have to remember, is just type 1 here. Okay, done. Now let's run this and see if John is appearing on my screen or not. Okay, so now you can see the 0, 1. So now John has appeared. Let me change this back to, let's say, 0. If I do 0, what would happen? If I make it to 0 and run this, the 0 index is Rakesh, so I am expecting Rakesh to appear on my screen. Okay, this thing should be very clear. So how you are accessing, once you create an array, how you are accessing. So Rakesh has come. So now you understood how in an array variable, how it is being stored. So this will be stored in this fashion. Okay, more names you add, it's going to store, one after the other, and the numbers would keep on increasing. The index number would keep on increasing. Okay, let's get back. Let me delete it for the moment. Now let's say I'm going to assign another array. I'm going to create another array where I'm going to store the country names. Okay, so where they are from, let's say assign, and I'm going to create another array with a control K, and I will say country name. Okay, the moment I do control K, as it's an array, I have to again come back here, and or else you can directly create it here also. That is also another way. So array of T and select string. This is done. Click OK, and the scope is decided to entire sequence. Fine. Now I'm going to put 3 country names, right? So I'm creating another array, and here I'm defining the country name. Let's say Rakesh is from India, comma, let's say John is from Germany, comma, again brackets, let's say Deepak is from, let's say, Sri Lanka. Okay, these are the 3 country names that I've declared. Now here is the thing that I want to do. Let's say I want to say Rakesh is from India, or I would like to say John is from Germany. So how do you do that? So for that I'm going to use a message box. Okay, so message box. So I'm going to show you 2 different methods. Okay, that will be more interesting to learn. So first is I will simply use name array. So I want to show Rakesh is from India. Okay, so I'm going to say name array. So Rakesh is in the index 0, right? So after this I'll give a plus sign and give braces and give a space. So it will say Rakesh space, then plus sign, and I'm going to type it here, is from, and give a space here. So it will say Rakesh space is from, again with a small space in between the braces, and I click on plus sign, and I am going to access the first index of country name. In bracket I am going to say 0, right? So what is happening here? The name array first index 0 is Rakesh, space is from, space country name is India, country name index 0 is India. Okay, let's run this. Now this is very clear. Let's run this. So you can see that it's clearly saying Rakesh is from India. So this is interesting. So from two different array variables, how you are taking each element of the array with the index number. So here I have defined 0 and 0. This is another way. We will use another method called string.join. So let's see that. How does that work? I'm dragging and dropping another message box. Here, instead of writing name, I am going to use another method, vb.net method, that is string.join. Okay. Now I wanted to give spaces after each index, so I'm already defining it here. Okay. Comma. So there will be no plus sign here. I'll be using comma, and I am typing name array. This time I'm going to access, let's say, John. John is index number 1. So in bracket I'm going to write name array 1, and then I'll give a comma, and I want a space right after the name. So again I'll double quotes and I'll give a space here. So everything is by adding a comma, and again I'm going to say is from, right, and I'm giving a space and closing this comma. So what is happening now? String.join name array is 1, that is John, space is from, space, little space here, and then so I'm not using a plus sign here, I'm using a comma. And the second one, country name index 1, so I will say comma country name, just hit on tab and in brackets mention 1. Okay, now you can see that clearly. Let me show you so that you remember how it is written. So very simple. String.join, I want a space, so this is the format. Name array 1 John, space is from, country name Germany. So this is how it has been done. Okay, I'm going to close this. Now let's run this and see how does it work. So first one, it should say Rakesh is from India, because this is the first message box. Clear? Rakesh is from India. Wonderful. Next, John is from Germany. So the spaces has already come. Do you see this? John is from Germany. Click on OK. Alright. So this is the demo of array, and you understood what is an array and how to access each element of the array. So thank you for watching this video, guys, and I'll be keep on posting more videos. Please subscribe and hit on the bell icon. Thank you for watching. You have a wonderful day. Today in this tutorial we will learn the UiPath if activity, if statement. So let's get started. First I'll create a new sequence and write it as if demo. Click on create. Alright, so in the first thing I am going to ask, I'm going to use a assign activity. Not assign, I'll use an input dialog box, and I'm going to ask user certain question. Okay, input dialog box. Now in input dialog box, here you have the title, so I can say in double quotes I have to type hi there, hi customer, for example, and I'm going to ask a question: what is the age of your child? Okay, this is the question I'm going to ask. Now let's see this, how the input dialog box appearing. Okay, so that way it will be very clear. Let me run this. So you can see the moment I write hi customer, that has come on the top, and the next one, what is the age of your child, is the question inside the body of the input dialog box. Okay, this is how you design it. Okay, now I have to write the next set of conditions, right? This is the label, and here is the title. Title is which is coming from the property panel. Okay, here also you can come and directly write it. So once you write this, there is something called output. So I'm going to store this in a output variable. Let's say I'm going to hit on Control K and type age. Okay, that way the variable will get created. Come back to the variable panel, and here I have to change that to an integer data type. Clear? So now whatever age is being entered will store in age variable. Good. Now the next step I am going to use is a if statement. Okay, because a sequence, there are two things. In sequence I'll be using if statement, and I'm going to show you what to use in workflow if you're using a workflow. Now I'm using a sequence. Sequence is nothing but one after the other the steps will follow, first and second and third, that way. And workflow is something we can direct which way it has to go. I'm going to show that demo. Now here I'm going to say age is less than 5. So this is the condition, simple condition I'm writing, and here I'm going to enter a message box. So I will type message box, drag it over here, and I will say congratulations. So if it is less than 5, the bus fare for your kid is free. Okay, congratulations, the bus fare for your kid is free. Wonderful. Now I'm going to copy this and going to paste in the else statement. If is more than 5-year old age, then I am going to say sorry, the bus fare for your child is not free. Okay, so these are the two message boxes that I want to show. Now let's run this and see how the if statement works inside UiPath. I'm going to save it. I'm going to run this now. Okay, what is the age of your child? Let's say I'm entering 16. Then I click on OK. Sorry, the bus fare for your child is not free. Let's test it again. Let me run it again. And here I'm going to say, let's say the age of my child is 2. Click on OK. Congratulations, the bus fare for your kid is free. So this is how you design a if activity depending on the need. All you need to learn is the conditions that you're supposed to write. Otherwise, this is how the simple flow. We will see the same activity using a workflow. So again, I'm going to click on new, click on flowchart, and I'm going to say flowchart if demo, let's say, and I'm going to click on create. Okay, the flowchart has created. So the first thing I will do, again I'll use the same input dialog box. I'm going to copy it from my sequence. I'm going to paste it here, and I'm going to connect the arrow dot, right? This is one way. Otherwise, I'm going to show you the other way. Otherwise, you can also right click and click on set as start node. Okay, this is the option you can use. Even this will also do the same job. It will connect. Alright, now there is an exclamation mark. Now you need to think why the exclamation mark has come. Now here you have declared age. So you have to go back to variable and see if there is a variable called age. No. So I'm going to come here and type age and make it, because I'm copying it from the sequence, I have to recreate this variable integer 32. Done. Now the error has gone. The next thing I am going to use it, instead of if, when you are using a workflow, right, you'll be using something called decision flow decision. Okay, so I am going to drag and drop it here, and I'm going to connect that to my flow. So let me connect it. Okay, done. Now here the condition would be again the same condition, age, because my age will be stored in this one. Age is less than 5. If age is less than 5, then again the message box would remain the same. So I will copy it quickly and I'm going to paste it over here. Done. And then I'm going to connect the true one to this one, and the false one message box is this. If age is greater than 5, then this should come over here. I'm going to paste it over here and I'm going to connect this. Okay, done. So everything is perfect. Let's run this. Okay, now let's say I'm entering a age 17. I need to click on OK. So it's saying sorry, the bus fare for your child is not free. Let me run it again. Okay, now let's say I am saying 2. I need to click on OK. Congratulations, the bus fare for your kid is free. Okay, so this is how you design the entire workflow using a decision flow decision. You cannot use a if activity over here in a workflow. You have to use a flow decision, and same thing for the sequence. You have to use a if activity. So that's about the video today. Thank you for watching, and please subscribe to my channel. If this video is helpful, please do subscribe. Thank you very much. Have a good day. In this video we are going to learn how to use switch case. Okay, for that I am going to quickly create a new flowchart, and I'm going to name it as switch demo, and I'm going to click on create. So in this video, let me give you what we're going to do. So in this video we are going to give a dialog box to the customer asking the bot is going to help the customer which flow to go for the shopping, and these are the various list of shoppings. For example, somebody wants to do a grocery shopping, which floor to go, women's section for clothing, which floor to go. So similarly I have selected some 6 different areas where the bot would guide them which floor they have to go. Okay, so let's get started. Let's start designing it. So the first thing is I need a input dialog box, and here also we will be learning how do we put that in that one by one, how do you put all those choices. So here I have dragged the input dialog box. Let me connect this. Now I'm going inside the input dialog box, and here I'm going to give this message box from the bot, which would say, dear customer, which floor would you like to go for shopping. Okay, so now this one's supposed to be in the double quote. Put that in the double quote. Done. Now the next section is I have to enter the choices. So the choices are something like this. For grocery, 1 2 3 4. Now how do you do this? So let me quickly copy this and paste it here, right? So open the editor window, and in this editor window I'm going to write it. That's supposed to be for the label, right? So I'll go to label, and here I find all the sections. So how do I put it? So first is grocery. Just by writing this it won't appear. Let me show you. If I just write something like this, there is some sort of an error here. Let me clear that. There's a double quotes here, so I'll remove it, put a single quote. So that should fix the problem. Click OK. Now I'll show you. If I run just like this, what is happening? All the things has come because I have directly copied from my notepad. This is one way, or else you can also write in a different way, that is environment.newline. That is also another quick way. Okay, this is a quick thing to learn. So I have typed entire format in this way in the notepad and directly copied pasted, so it took in that format. So you can see it when I running it, it was coming in a right format. Now what I will do, the moment customer chooses something, it should get into a variable. I'm going to create a variable, control K, and type choice. Okay, so variable got created. Now this should take only the integer type, so I'm selecting integer type. So he has to make 1 2 3 4 whatever he likes. Now next thing, I'm going to take a switch activity, switch, and I'm going to drag and drop this. Done. I'm going to connect this. Now in this switch activity, I'm going to expression should be choice. So whatever he's making a choice, depending on that, it should show me. So now you see there are certain things called default, add new case. So what is default and add new case? For example, if you see, go to my notepad, the first case is grocery, right? If it's selecting 1, it should say where the grocery shop is. So what I will do, I'll go to add new case. I type 1 here, and below that there's a message, there's a box where I can write a message box to the customer, and I'm going to write that here, message box. And here let's say I'm going to say you need to go to first or ground flow for grocery, right? So this is my message. So now what is default? If somebody is selecting anything out of the 6 choices they have given, so that should show some default message. So here I'll click on default. Okay, now here again I'm going to drag my message box and I will say you have made an invalid choice. Made an invalid choice. Done. Okay, now I will quickly go and do the same thing for case 2. Now for case 2 I'll again copy this message box, go to case 2 and put it here. Now here all I have to do is, instead of ground floor, I will say first floor, and that is for, if I go back, it's for women section. So I'll copy this quickly, go back and say it women section. Okay, and I will delete rest of the things. Done. Now same thing I am going to do it for case 3. Again click on that and type 3. Okay, now one thing to remember, the type argument, many people will have this problem. The type argument by default will be set to object, right? If you set to object, what would happen if everything is gone, if you see that. So how do you, all you need to remember, it has to be always integer type. So what would happen if I make to any other object, if I put a case 1, it will give you this kind of error. Case key value cannot be converted from to type string. Okay, this is the error. So remember, if this error comes, all you have to do is switch back to integer. So I'll go back. So it is I switched back to integer 32. Remember this. Now again for case 3, I'll copy this message box, go to case 3, paste it here, and this is for the men section. So I will type men section. Done. Now I will do the case 4 quickly. Again copy paste the message box, and here you make it kids section, right? And next case 5. Okay, now we'll see case 4, case 5 is game zone. So I'll again go to case 5, copy paste, and here I will say game zone, right? Done. That simple it is. Now the case 6, I'll type again case 6. Done. Now in the case 6 body, I'm going to put the message box and say food section, okay, or food zone. Now all I need to do, everything I have written first floor, so this would be, let's say 5th floor, and in the case 5 this is supposed to be 4th floor. Done. In case 4 that's supposed to be 3rd floor. In case 3 that's supposed to be 2nd floor. Done. In case 2 that's supposed to be 1st floor, and this is supposed to be the ground floor. Okay, so now we have done entire designing. We'll just run it. Okay, please do subscribe to my channel, guys. Okay, this has come grocery women section. Now let's say I'm selecting a invalid case. Let's say I'm selecting 0, or I'm going to say 9. If I do any invalid selection, it's saying you have made a invalid choice. Okay, good. Now the only problem is it is again going back. Okay, how do you loop it back? Okay, I'll show you how do you loop it back. Now let's say I'm going to make the section, let's say I want to do kids section. So I'll select the option number 4, click on OK. It's saying you need to go to 3rd floor for kids section. Okay, so this is why quite practical. This kind of a bot can be created, and this helps the customers, right? The only thing, I want this bot to loop back every time, right? If he's making invalid choice, it should loop back. How do I do it? So all I need to do is I need to get back to and put this node to the start node. Just by doing this, okay, let me try it again. Okay, input dialog box. So let me run this. So there's a lot of modification can be done. So the video should not, is not enough, but again, let me show you what is happening here. Let's say I'm clicking on 0. You have made an invalid choice. Now the bot is not going to exit here. so it's still giving me another option. This is, you need to go to first for women section, right? So all this kind of designing can be done, and when you do not want, customer has the option to close the bot. So thank you for watching this video. I'm sure this should help you to understand switch function in more detail. And one thing to remember while you are writing a switch function, remember the type argument. Okay, the type argument has to be changed depending on the kind of choice you are making. In our case, it was an integer, so I have selected integer 32. This is the error generally people would follow, and this is the tip for the day. And please subscribe to my channel, guys. That is how it will help me to grow in my channel, and it will allow me to upload more and more helpful videos for you guys. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day. So here I'm sharing another learning that could help you. Many times we have to work on Word documents, right? And that requires, for example, you open a Word document and you want to replace the employee who is assigned for certain work in a document, right? Kind of a SOP documents. So how do you do that? So basically we will be learning how to open that Word document, and then making changes to a given Word document, things like that. So that is our topic for the day. So there are two things we will do. We will learn how to, first of all, there has to be a Word package in UiPath, right? Otherwise the activities for Word document will not come, right? So we will learn how to get that Word package. Second, we'll work on activities of Word. So there are a couple of activities that we're going to learn. So very simple. Why after you install your UiPath, you may not have the package. Okay, so yeah, in case you are typing the activities something for Word and you're not finding them, right? So generally, if I type Word here, see, I can see the entire activities for Word, but in case you have not installed, you will not find all these activities. So how do you get them? Okay, very simple, very generic video, but again, this will help a person who is trying, he's struggling to get something done with Word document, right? So let's quickly go to home, and here you have tools, right? So this is where it show you different packages which are currently available. But however, I want to install a package. So in your design tab, you have something called manage packages. Okay, I'll click on manage packages, and here I'm going to type Word. Okay, so one, you will find UiPath Word activities by UiPath. So this is the best one. You can select this and then click on install and save. Okay, so once you save it, all the dependencies will get installed. So I have already done it, but again, this is where you have to come and install our entire package for the Word document. So once you do that, if you type Word on your activities panel, you will see all these activities are listed out here, right? Add picture, append text, export to PDF, Word document to PDF, right? Read text, replace picture, replace text, and so many things. So we'll simply use one of the activity. Okay, not necessary that we all have to cover an entire thing, but again, to understand, we'll just use one of the activity. Let's say replace text. Okay, so now the replace text, how that's supposed to work. Now if you see what to replace, and and what is that search word. Let's say I want to search for the name, whatever the name, and I want to replace with something. The problem here is it doesn't specify which location I should go, right? So what I will do, I'll go back to activity, and then here you have something called Word application scope. Okay, Word application scope. Now within that I will place this replace text. Okay, done. Now here it's asking Word application scope, so I'm going to click here and tell which is that file. So I'll show you that file. So this is the file. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I have simply made a Word document and I have typed my name is Rakesh. He's trying to or I am trying to replace the text. Now that is funny, but just to understand, right? I am trying to replace the text. Okay, so this is simple example. So I'll just save it. Okay, so the file name is Rakesh test. I'm going to close this. So now what I'll do, in the Word application scope, I'm going to select this and go to documents, and here I have got Rakesh test. Click on open. So now it knows where to go and replace the text. So I want to replace Rakesh with, let's say, somebody else's name. Somebody else is assigned to the work. Let's say give me a name. Let's say Deepak Kumar. Okay, he's supposed to work on that, let's say. So if you have to replace, all I have to do now is I'll save it, and then I'll ensure the file is closed, right? The file is closed, nothing is open. So I'll simply run the bot. Okay, run it. Let's see what is happening. So execution started and execution completed. So if you go to output panel, you can see that, right? So all I will do now is go back, right? Go back to your documents, and then this is the file I'm trying to open. Wow, you can see my name was there, that has been replaced with a different name. So this is a very generic example, but again, I'm sure this would help you in a couple of business cases that you might be dealing with. Alright guys, so please subscribe to my channel. If the videos are helping you, please do subscribe, please do like and share my channel. Thank you. Have a wonderful day, guys. So today in this tutorial we are going to learn about the assign activity. So assign activity is a very critical activity that you will be using inside a project, and this assign activity is used to assign a value to a variable. Let's say you want to sum two different numbers, you want to add two numbers. So that is where we'll be using the assign activity. That is one of the example, and one of the greatest example is inside a loop, right? When we use a do while loop or while loop, assign activity becomes very handy to use it as a counter variable. So we increment the number one by one until it meets the condition, right? The loop will be running. So those are the areas where we'll be using the assign activity. Okay, so this is the learning objective, guys. We will see how to use an assign activity. Let's get started. All right, so first thing is what I'm going to do in this example is I'll start with a very basic thing where I am going to ask a customer uh, two numbers. Okay, so what I'm going to do is now in the input dialog box I'm going to say enter first number. Okay, so this is the title label where I have to type. Title will be on the top of the box, it will come. Okay, for example, let me type expo hub. Okay, that will come as a title, you can see that. And then second thing, enter second number. Okay, all right, the moment you do that, first thing is in the output variable, control K and create a variable I'm creating as num1. Second also I'll do a control plus K, create another variable num2. Done. Now I will use simple assign activity. Okay, and here in the assign activity I'm going to create another variable called num3. Okay, so and here what I'm going to do is I'll go to the variable panel, and here I'm from the generic value I will change all of them to integer 32 type, because I am going to handle with numbers. Alright, so now all I'm going to do here is num1, let's say plus num2. So both the value that is passed from the customer input, that will stay in num1 and num2 variable, and the sum of these numbers will pass to num3. And the last thing I'm going to do is use a message box, and here I'm going to say type num3. Now num3, if I type num3, this is an integer type, isn't it? This is an integer type. Okay, so I'm going to convert this to dot to string. All right, so now everything is perfect. Let's run this. Okay, asking for the first number, let me say 10. Asking for the second number, let me say 5, and it is giving the sum. Okay, the same example, what we will do, we are going to design a do while loop. Okay, let's see that how it works in the do while loop. So what I will do for that, I'll create another, let's say, flowchart. I'll use a flowchart, and here I will say assign example. I'm going to drag and drop the do while loop. Okay, all right. Now inside the do while loop, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a assign variable. Okay, so I'll tell you assign variable, and here I'm going to create a variable. Okay, so control K, and I will say counter. The variable name is counter. Okay, and here I will say counter plus 1. So every time it runs it, so this I am going to make it integer type, and the start value would be 0. Okay, starting value I'm assigning a default value as 0. So what would happen for the first time when it will run, it will say 0 plus 1, so counter value would remain 1. So I'm saying run until counter is equals to, let's say, 3 times. Okay, until the counter becomes 3, so it will run 3 times. Okay, so in between that, what I will say, I'll use a message box, drag and drop inside, so it is going to just show me the counter value. So counter dot to string, so it will give me 1 2 3 4, right? That is the count. So let's see that. Let me run it. Okay, so the first time it said 0 plus 1, so it said 1. Okay, until the counter equals to 3. Let me see what went wrong. Okay, so here the problem here is counter equals to 3. So now the counter is 1, so it does not meet the condition, so the do while loop will not work. So all you need to do is counter is less than 3. So until the counter is less than 3, it is going to work. So it should meet the condition. Okay, if you say equals to 3, counter value is 1, so counter is not equal to 3, right? It will not run, so it will exit out of the loop. So that is the whole reason. So let me run it. So it's saying 1 2 and 3, then it will loop out. Okay, so this is where you will be using an assign activity, and this is something we use in the project multiple times. More often you'll be using this. So this is all about the assign activities, guys. Please do not forget to click on the like button. That is something required for this channel. Please ensure you click on the like button and do subscribe to the channel. We will come up with more interesting videos for you guys. Thank you, friends. Have a wonderful day. Today we will see about get process activity, and also we'll see about kill process. So let me tell you when we have to use get process. Let's say on my system, I want to close specific applications, right? That's a notepad or Excel or Word document or Google Chrome, right? Any of the running application I would like to close. So how do you first of all get that process name and then close it? So this is the process. So get process is one of the default activity, right? It's one of the core activity of UiPath Studio. If you place your mouse over here, you can see that UiPath system.activities. So this is one of the core activity. All right, so how do you utilize this? So let me show you. If I open task manager, so currently whatever applications are running over here, so all the names, process names are shown on this one. But how do you get that onto UiPath and kill the process or close that application, things like that, right? So let's do that. So the get process, when you drag and drop, right, on the property panel you have something called output. So here let me create a variable. So control K, and let's say I'm saying running process. Running P is the variable I'm creating. Alright, so this will contain all the running process. Now if you come to variable, Let me delete this with the previous created variables. Okay, so running p, if you see, it has got system.collection.object. So this is a variable type. Okay, now let's say I want to see that in a message box. So what I will do, so how do you utilize that variable in a message box to see what are the processes currently running? So all I will do is I'll just say running p. Okay, that variable I'm just utilizing. So if I run it now, let's see what are the processes which is coming. Okay, so you can see that it has shown all the different processes, but again, I cannot see in detail as to what they are, isn't it? I cannot see that. So how do you literally do it is using a for each loop. So message box will not work, so we will use a for each loop. Okay, because it will be having a stack of data or array of processes, and message box is something will not be able to process all that process names, so I'll be using for each. So here all I have to do is I will just utilize that variable. Okay, so the variable is running p, right? So this is the variable I've created. So now all this variable data would get onto item, and one by one we can see it. So let me drag a message box now. Okay, so what I will do here is I'm going to say item dot. Now you can see that there is, I'm not able to use that dot option. So what I have to do, there is something called type argument in for each loop, right? The type argument is object, so I have to make it to a process kind of a argument. So what I will do here, I will just type process. Okay, and once you type it under system dot diagnostics, this is the process that you have to select. So once you select that, okay, now if you put a dot right here, you can see that you get the process name. Okay, this is how you get the process name. So that kind of a variable you have to utilize. All right, so let's see that. Let me just run it and we will see what are the processes coming. Okay, so you can see that Chrome native messaging is one of the processes which is running. There's something else is running, presentation. Okay, there's so many processes running actually, right? You have a studio, command prompt. So how come all this process I could not see? So actually they are there in the task manager. Okay, if you go to process tab here, now you can see there are n number of different processes which are available. Okay, so all this will come one by one. Okay, so all these are being shown. So let me, all these are coming one by one. So let me stop it now. Now I'm not interested about all the processes. Okay, so let me do one thing. If I open a notepad, okay, and my job is to close the notepad. Okay, so how do I do it? So let me minimize this for the moment. So instead of a message box, I'll delete it, and I'm going to utilize a if activity. Now in the if activity, I will say item dot process name. Okay, process name equals to, in double quotes, just say notepad. Okay, so now if it is notepad, if the activity name is notepad, then I want to kill it. So for that there is a process called kill process. Okay, so now what would happen, the kill will is going to kill it, that will kill the notepad, but again for the kill process you have to define the process name. So click here and type item dot process name. So whatever the process name it's going to capture as per the condition, so in our case it will be notepad, right? Only then it will come to here. So the notepad will automatically get killed. So I'm clicking on OK. Now let's run it. So you can see that I have opened one notepad on my taskbar. Let me open one more. Okay, so I have opened and I'm writing something over here, and the other one is blank. Okay, the other one is blank. These are the two notepad which are currently open on my system. Let me run it. So you will see both the notepads from the taskbar will get closed. You can see that it got closed. So this is about the kill process, which will not wait for anything. It will just terminate the entire process. Okay. Now there is another such activity called close application. Okay. Now I will show you the difference. So kill process has closed the entire application. Now in case I'm using close application activity here, and I'll indicate the notepad. Okay. I'm opening the notepad. So last time I opened two notepads and both of them got closed. So now I have indicated the notepad. Okay. So now it should close the application, right? So I'll show you the difference what is happening. Let me open another notepad and I'm going to write something. Okay. So now there are two notepads which are open. Now if I run it, you will see what is the difference. Okay. So it started executing. So now what happened? Out of the, so if you go here, it's asking me to, do you want to save the changes? So it's not exactly closing because there is some data over here. Okay. So if I say cancel, okay, so it's not exactly closing the applications, isn't it? Because something that need to be saved or that require a user input. So that is where we'll be directly using a kill process. Okay. So once I clicked on cancel, now the execution got completed and both the notepads got closed, just that it will wait for the user interaction. So once you select save or cancel and something, that's where it is going to act. You wait for 30 seconds. That's the default time. Okay. So this is what all about the get process activity. You understood how to utilize that. All you have to do is create a variable, and control can create a variable. It will automatically take the variable type. Okay. And post that, I used a for each loop. Use that variable, and one by one the item will contain all the processes that are running. And then I used a if condition, and here I said item dot process name equals to notepad. Okay. And then I have shown you two different demo. One is the kill process, right? One is the kill one and the other one is close application. So both the activities I have shown. This is how you can utilize. So thank you for watching, guys. Please do like and comment and let me know any other activities that you would like to learn where you have difficulties. Thank you very much. You have a wonderful day. Tutorial we are going to learn how do you create a new line. Let's say you are typing a message box where there are multiple lines, and certain lines you like them to appear not in the continuous way, but that should appear below that, right? It should appear in a new line. So how to do that? Let's get started. So for that, let me simply drag and drop a message box. Okay. So now inside this message box, let's say I'm going to say hello and then let's say, or else let me say welcome to Expo Hub. Okay, so this is the first one. Now let's say I want to type another line, right? Let's say I'm going to say what to say, I'm not getting sentence. Let's say I want to add another welcome to Expo Hub. There's a dot, and then here I'm going to say uh, did you subscribe to our channel? By the way, in case you have not subscribed, please do subscribe. All right, so these are the two lines. Let me save it and let me run it. So what is happening is when I see the output, okay, I can see that welcome to Expo, did you subscribe to our channel? Now these two are coming in the same line, right? I do not want that. I want that to appear in the new line. So for that, what I'll be using, there's a environment class that is called, so I'll use a plus sign. So in between these two plus signs, I'm going to write there's something called environment with the class, dot, if you put dot, now all these things can be used: command line, current directory equals exit code. Okay, and there is something called new line. Do you see this? Machine name, new line, OS version if you want to get. So all these things are possible through the environment class. So here I'll be using new line for this video. So now if I run it, okay, so here you can see that welcome to ExpoHub. Did you subscribe to our channel? Alright guys, so this is how the new line gets created. Please do subscribe to the channel. Please do comment and do like the video. Thank you very much guys. I'm going to teach you the dynamic array in UiPath. How do you create a dynamic array in UiPath, right? So let's see that. So to understand that how to create a dynamic array, let me quickly go through how to utilize the array. All of us may be knowing it, but again it's important just to understand that aspect, which I'm going to cover, right? So let's get started. So what I'm going to do with the very first thing, creating an array where I'm hitting string list, right? And here I've created a variable, and in that variable I am just mentioning array of t, and here I am selecting string. So that way you are creating an array of string. So the problem with this kind of things is they are not dynamic. So what is the meaning of they are not dynamic is, when I click on this and I can give some values. For example, I can simply say let's say I'm going to write the country names. So let's say India, comma, USA, comma, let's say UK. So the moment I write this, what happens? This is fixed, right? So you cannot have one more data added. So what is happening when I say UK? You can see the pretty much I have used a for each loop to go through the string list, and here in the for each loop I have selected type argument as string. Okay, ensure whatever the array type, ensure for the for each loop also you select that. Okay, and here I am going to mention string list, so it can go through all the data that is there in that array and it can show me. So this is understood, but the problem with this is it doesn't give me an option to add more data. So there are 3 data, it can only show 3 data. So there is another option. People might ask me, Rakesh, what if India, US, UK? Can I at least add this 3 data, but again in a dynamic way? Yes, that is possible. So what you do, you generate 3 variables, variable 1, 2, 3, let's say, and they are of all string. And here I am, let's say, providing a static value India, UK, USA. So this value either you declare over here, or let's say you are reading from an Excel file or somewhere you want to pass it. Yes, you can do that. Just to demonstrate this example, what I'm going to do, let me, instead of writing the hard coded value here, I will delete that and I'm going to write it in a different way. So how do I write it? So in the variable manner, right? So what you do first is you put the curly braces, and here in the curly braces write variable 1 comma variable 2 comma variable 3. Okay, so that way you have option to change the values of this 3. But again, the problem with this is you can only have 3 data. As per your declaration, you have declared only 3 data, so you can always have 3 data, not more than that. So if I run this, what is happening? It can only show me 3 data, nothing. I cannot add in between. Let's say in between I want to add something. So that is where UiPath dynamic array, how do you utilize, is something we need to know. So let me tell you, there is nothing called dynamic array in UiPath. For that you have something called list. It does the same job. Dynamic array, it does the same job, same concept, but again the name of it is list that you have to use. So what is that? Let me show you. So here what I'm going to do, let me delete this data. Okay, and once I delete it, I am going to show you how do I use the dynamic array or the list called list or collections. Okay, so here instead of array of strings, I am going to click on browse of types. Okay, and here in the browse of types, simply type list, simply search for list. So once you search for list, what will happen? Slightly scroll down, you will find something called system.collection.list. Okay, if you could see that, system.collection.generic, yeah, system.windows. This one, but I want system.collection.generic. This window becomes very slow for me. I don't know how it works for all of you guys. Okay, so in case probably I'm not able to see it, so let me type it again. I am going to type system dot collection dot generic. So let me try it over here. I see list. Okay, this one. Okay, system dot collection dot generic. In this one you will find list. Okay, so this one, list of t. Either you type list and try to find out, if not this way, up to you. So you will find this. So once you have this, what I'm going to do here, I'm going to select string. Okay, so once I select, what happened this time, it has become a list now. If you see, if you highlight now, you will see it has become a list. So what is the benefit with this? I can add number of values I want. For example, let me first demonstrate you how it works. Now the first thing, there is a format, you have to initiate that. So for that you have to write new list. Remember this, new list, and after that you get a hint, list of. So remember, new list, you get this hint. So here in this bracket you have to write of, because you are dealing with string type of data, right? Simply say of string. Done. So just by declaring this you are actually good, but let's say I want to use some values with it. So for that, what you do, again put moon brackets, and here you can mention the within the curly braces what you do. So this is the format, guys. Moon braces, within the curly braces you have to write, let's say, 3 values which I already have. Let's say variable 1, variable 2, comma variable 3. Okay, so I have declared 3 values here. So what is going to do, if I simply run it now this is flexible, I can add more data to it. So right now you have seen with array it can only print 3 data. So right now I'm using a list, and I can show you how I can add more values to it. So let's say right now it's printing India, UK and US depending on the defined value. Let's say I want to print something else. Let's say Japan I want to print. So there is an activity called add to collection. Okay, add to collection, drag and drop this activity. Now this becomes flexible, right? This is not limited to 3 now. I can add 4, 5, unlimited data I want. So add to collection, when I do here, you have to do what I have to do. I'll use the list name. So here my list name is what? String list, right? The variable name I have to put. And then the main thing you need to remember, here you will get a error. Okay, then you will get into problem why this error is coming. Remember, here there is something called type argument. Here whatever kind of data you are dealing, you need to choose that. Remember this. So once I select it to string, what would happen, I can add any kind of a value. Let's say I want to add a hard coded value or a variable you want to say. Let's say a variable you want to, you can add the variable name, or if not, let's say hard coded value also you can enter. It's quite flexible for you how you want. So here I am adding a hard coded value Japan, let's say. So what is happening now, if I try to deal with the list, now it will have 4 values instead of 3. So if I run it, you will see there will be some 4 values. Do you see that? So it is coming 4 values now. Let's say I want to add 1 more data, 2 more data, 3 more data, or another 10 data, 20 data, right? So depending on that, you want to keep on adding the data. One thing you can do, this add to collection activity has to use multiple times. Okay, this needs to be used multiple times. Let's say I want to add 4 different data, or depending, let's say there is an Excel file. From the Excel file, whatever the data it is there in the Excel file, I want to take that data and want to write one by one. So all of this thing can be done. Okay, so how to do that? Okay, for example, let me open up a Excel file, and inside that Excel file, let's do that. So this is where you wanted to learn, isn't it? So let me quickly show that also. So let me use one of the Excel file. Let's say this Excel file I'm using. Okay, here let me delete all the data. Let's say I'm going to add whatever the data is. Let's say these are the country names, and I'm going to add some other country names, right? Let's say Nepal, let's say Sri Lanka, whatever, how many number of data I don't know. Whatever data is there, it should get added, right? And then give me some country names, Japan, UK, right, Germany. Okay, so all how many you want, you just keep on adding that, right? Italy, depending on the names. So let's say Excel file has some data and we don't know how many data it has got. It can be 4, 5, 10, 11, 100, doesn't matter. So right now I want to add all this data dynamically to the dynamic array, right, or the list. So how to do that? Let me first save it. What you do, first thing you do, you read this particular Excel file, right? So for that I'm using a Excel application scope. Okay, now inside the Excel application scope, let me quickly read that file. So the file is UiPath ExpoHub Excel2. All right, and here it should read that data, right? So read range, and the read range should read the sheet 1. Is our file name correct? Sheet 1, right? The same thing it's going to read, and let it read the entire range, whatever data is there. So let me create a data table, Control plus K, and simply say DT1, data table 1. So this one I want to, I have read it now. So once you read it, ensure this DT1, right, your data table 1 should be applicable to the entire scope. So here I am going to make it applicable to the entire scope. Okay, so I can access that data table anywhere I want. So once I read it, what I want to add it to the collection. For that, when you are using a data table, your activity that you're supposed to use is for each row. Okay, so this is for specifically for the looping in the data table. So here what I'm going to do, simply mention DT1. So it's going to loop through the entire data. So once it looping in, what I want, this time add to collection, I want to add it here. So here whatever the data is there in the Excel file, it should go on adding. So what should I do? Instead of putting a hard coded value here, I am going to write row, it is in the column number 1, right? So you put, sorry, so the index 0, right, for this. So this one is index 0, index 1, index 2, like that. So 0, so I'll simply say index 0. So country is your header. So here I will go back and simply say row 0 dot to string. You don't have to do it. Okay, yep, you have to write that. So here dot to string. Okay, so once you do it, what would happen is going to read each of that data and continuously add it to that. So once it adds everything, then we will see if all the data is coming as the output or not with the same logic. Okay, same logic. So let me go through what I have done. I have created a list and I simply declared okay, so I've simply declared new list of string, and here I have added some static values which I already had. But here my question was, I should be able to read from an Excel file. So I read it from an Excel file stored in data table 1. I'm going through a for each row, and this for each row here I am going to add to the same collection where I have given the collection name. Okay, so apart from those static 3 values, India, US, UK, apart from that, it's going to read from an Excel file and is going to show me all these 4 countries. So it doesn't matter how many data you have, it's still going to do the job for you. Okay, so how to so here I have written row 0 dot to string. All right, so done. Now let me run this and show you the output. Okay guys, so once everything is set, once your workflow is completed, no error, then try to run it. So let's see what outcome comes. I should be able to read all the data, and it's a dynamic way of doing it, right? So let's see that. Wow, so you saw it, how nicely all the country names has come. India, UK, US, these are our static values. Nepal, Sri Lanka, Germany, Italy, everything has come from the Excel file. So guys, this demo must help you and must give you a lot of clues now how to use list and how to use the dynamic array. So thank you for watching. Please do like, in case this has helped you. Please do like, hit on the like button. Please do subscribe to our channel in case you have not done it. Thank you so much. Have a great day guys.